never saw it. Haunted by memories of an unfulfilled amateur career. And now, an uncertain professional skater. Could a world professional title change Nancy Kerrigan? When you've won everything there is, what else is there for Kristi Yamaguchi? She's the reigning queen of figure skating, a position that allows for no mistakes. At age 25, the pure joy of Olympic victory may have become just a memory. How long can Kristi remain invincible? Yuka Sato, she won a world championship in her home country of Japan. But how many people know her name? In this event, no one has ever come close to this man. 6 times Brian Boitano has competed here. 6 times Brian Boitano has been victorious. Can he be beaten in his event? If Boitano is the professional, then Kurt Browning is the natural. The Canadian skater with so much unrealized potential. He has tasted nothing but tears at the Olympics. Last year, his debut as a professional here, absolute disappointment. Will this be the competition where Kurt Browning finally lives up to expectations? U.S. Air Arena, Landover, Maryland, packed tonight for the oldest and most prestigious professional skating event. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Hammond, and welcome to Landover. We're ready to bring you the finest field ever assembled for a professional skating championship. Tonight, we'll be bringing you the technical programs in each of the 4 disciplines. That is, ladies and men's singles, pairs, and dance. And then tomorrow night, the artistic programs as the competition concludes. Joined now by our expert commentator, Sandra Bezic. Sandra, you know, in the ladies' competition, we feature the first ever head-to-head meeting as professionals between Kristi Yamaguchi and Nancy Kerrigan. They've been friendly rivals over 10 years now, roommates at the '92 Olympics. And I guess Kristi was always sort of the senior skater, always expected to win. Tonight, a lot of pressure on both of them.
That's right, and Kristi is still expected to win. She has had such an outstanding competitive career that now every time she steps on the ice, she is expected to win, and that's a lot to live up to. For Nancy, her pressure is a different sort. For the past 2 years, she's received so much attention that it's difficult for her to set that aside and just skate.
Well, behind us, the pair skaters are warming up in preparation for their technical program. We'll see them first. Of course, the tragic death of Sergei Grinkov has left a huge void. In fact, here at Landover, the spot that would have been taken by Gordieva and Grinkov has purposely been left vacant. We will, however, see another chapter in the continuing comeback of Underhill and Martini. You may remember 2 years ago, they were able to put aside the emotion of the loss of one of Barbara's children to win the gold medal, and in fact are undefeated in this competition.
Barbie and Paul took last year off in order for Barbara and her husband to have another child. And this year, coming back means a lot more than just another title. It means doing what you love to do, finding solace in it, and surviving a tragedy.
Tonight's technical program counts for 50% of the final score. The artistic program, the other half, tomorrow night. Underhill and Martini will skate first, followed by Bessky and Petrov, and then Kovarakova and Novotny.
For the technical program in the pairs event, the deciding factor is usually either a throw or side-by-side jumps.
After taking last season off, are you surprised that Barbara and Paul returned to competition this year?
I'm not, Tom.
Ladies and gentlemen,
every single day, they just love to go to the rink. They love to see each other for those couple of hours a day and train. It's just a blast to watch them.
And they have dominated this event. World champions in 1984.
Stepping on this ice surface after all these years is still intimidating for them. And skating first makes it even more so.
But they are veterans in handling the pressure. Barbara now 32 years old. Paul is 35.
Next year, they'll be celebrating their 20th anniversary together. And they open with one of pair skating's most difficult tricks, split triple twist. Little tight on the landing. I said the deciding factor could be the throw triple sow cow. Here it is.
Barbara Underhill and Paul Martini and Sandra, not their greatest performance by any means, but they did manage to avoid disaster.
Well, Barbie and Paul are used to nothing less than perfection, so that one little mistake is going to disappoint them a lot. But what's interesting is that they're the ones who are responsible for setting such a high level competitively here and technically. Now they have to wait for the other pairs to see where this puts them.
And again, they are unbeaten at the World Professional Championship. 6 times they've been the champion. But that reign may be in doubt after this opening skate.
Here's the throw triple sow cow. The takeoff is solid, as usual. Nice and tight in the air, and she's just slow to check that free leg out, and you can see she over-rotates the jump. One of their strengths is fantastic lifts, creativity. Watch this dismount. Looks like fun.
To you, maybe. Perfect score is a 10. The high and low marks are thrown out. The rest are added up for a cumulative score.
9.7, 9.7, 9.7.
There are 2 more pairs to skate. The judges obviously have to leave room and take into account the air.
And 9.7.
So by Underhill and Martini standards, mediocre scores a total 48.5. Next to skate, the Russian pair, Elena Bessky and Denis Petrov. They both started skating at 5 years old in the same arena in St. Petersburg, Russia, but it was another 10 years before they were paired up, relatively late in their careers. Married for a while, but now divorced, and they say they get along much better these days.
An extremely strong pair, Tom. Their weakness, however, is Elena's nerves when they compete. told me before the competition they were taking out their side-by-side double axel instead to do these double flips. She wanted to enjoy this performance, she said, for a change.
Under the rain, I wanna kiss your smile and feel your pain. I know what's beautiful, looking at you.
Beautiful triple twist.
Making the program less difficult, though, does that compromise their chances of winning?
If they land this jump, no.
And they didn't. Was that Elena's nerves again, perhaps?
Yes. When she performs in exhibition, she is always flawless. And then in competition, she says she just starts to think too much.
Bessky and Petrov.
Bessky and Petrov, the perennial runners-up here. 3 times in this competition they have been second. Seem to have about the same technical value as Underhill and Martini, and perhaps a little stronger skate.
It was stronger and faster, a far less tentative performance.
And we saw some of those signature moves of their coach, the great Tamara Moskvina.
What's interesting is that the error they made was very similar to Barbie and Paul's on the throw triple Falcao. And we often look at the woman to see where the error was made. But watch Dennis and his lack of flow. She has great height, but not time enough to check out her free leg.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, these scores for Elena Bessky and Dennis Petrov.
And they are joined by their coach, Tamara Moskvina.
9.8.
Pretty good start.
9.8.
These reflect the speed and the strength of the performance.
And you see they're delighted with those marks.
9.8.
A couple of 9.9.
9.6.
And a 9.6, which will be, of course, eliminated. 49.1, though, and that puts Elena Bessky and Dennis Petrov in first place. But coming up, reigning world champions Kovarakova and Novotny. As we're ready for the final technical program in the pairs competition, Radka Kovarakova and Renee Novotny from the Czech Republic. In their first season as professional skaters, having turned pro after their win at the 1995 World Amateur Championships.
It's been an overwhelming season for them. They've had difficulties competing as professionals, not really understanding what the judges expect or what the audience expects. It's a learning experience the first year out.
Skating to Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet.
Choreographed by Marina Klimova and Sergei Ponomarenko.
We'll see them later in the dance competition.
Opening with side-by-side triple toe jumps. Very nice, and the only side-by-side triple toes we will see this evening. now for their throw, the throw triple toe loop. Gorgeous. And with that opening, those two elements, that will set them very clearly in the lead. And a triple twist to top it off.
They are engaged to be married despite a 12-year age difference. She's 20, he's 32. Classical music, classical style. Kovarakova and Novotny, fresh from the amateur ranks. We'd expect them to be strong technically, and they were that.
Kovarakova and Novotny.
Well, that performance had it all the technical elements as well as great style, great choreography.
For the last 3 years, they've trained in Lake Arrowhead, California, under three-time Olympic gold medalist Irina Rodnina, maybe the greatest pair skater of all time. In fact, for years, we pronounced Rodka's name Kovarakova. She says if she's going to be an American, it's Kovarakova. That's what we call her now.
A flawless performance, and one that opened with gorgeous side-by-side triple toes, and then this throw triple toe jump. Now, this is the element, a similar element to what the other pairs missed. Gorgeous. Perfect. That landing position has fantastic extension. And there's Irina Rodnina.
And you said that throw was perfect. Here's some near-perfect scores, 9.9.
9.9. 10.
And one perfect 10.
9.9 and 9.9.
And the total score, 49.5, which will put them into first place after the technical program. And as the men take the ice for their warm-up, the standings after the technical program in the pairs, Kovarakova and Novotny in first place over Bessky and Petrov. Well, in the men's competition, no question, the man to beat, the man who has ruled this event, the six-time world professional champion, Boitano. He'll have some challengers, though. Paul Wiley, who has blossomed as a professional skater. And the athletic Kurt Browning, a newly rededicated Kurt Browning. And the always expressive Victor Petrenko. It should be an outstanding men's competition. We'll get right to it when we return to Landover. He's won this event so many times, they ought to name it after him. Brian Boitano. A 7th title here would be a record. Paul Wiley, world professional champion in 1993. That was a year Brian Boitano didn't compete. Kurt Browning, his debut here last year was a disappointing last place. Victor Petrenko, the only Olympic gold medalist to challenge Brian Boitano. Four highly talented men's skaters, each with something to prove in his own way in this competition. Paul Wiley will skate first, the cum laude graduate from Harvard. And Kurt Browning, an enigma. Last year, didn't train hard, was embarrassed by finishing last in the World Professional Championships. Rededicated now to becoming a competitive professional skater. As this man has, Paul Wiley, as we said earlier, really has blossomed as a professional skater and always has such intricate, dramatic programs. His technical program, On the Waterfront. He plays the Marlon Brando character in the classic movie. It's about betrayal, but triumph over evil.
In order to triumph here, Paul knows he has to land a triple axel.
And hand touchdown.
With this crowd, it's a mistake he can't afford, and he cannot afford another one. Triple lot.
Has been bothered with a groin pull. He's been icing it after practice the last 2 days. And perhaps that's affecting his performance. Paul Wiley, he called this program challenging and intricate. He said not too many more years that he will be able to skate to it, and he had his problems. Injury, hectic travel schedule, all taken into account. Not a typical Paul Wiley skate.
He made the same error on each of his triple jumps, the drop shoulder, right shoulder, watch this, and the triple axel, which he had to land. He opened the program with this jump, and that error set the technical tone of the program. But what I admire most about Paul is his integrity as a performer.
I just was like, did you see her into the left? I was like, Well, I tripped almost on that corner. I thought I was going to get the axle. It was almost like it's higher than I thought.
Obviously, technically uncomfortable there. Again, on this triple Lutz, the dropped right shoulder. But as a performer, Paul is always passionate, always giving 150%. And that's what makes him so incredible.
With his coach, Mary Scott Bold, he looks at his scores.
Well, those are to be expected.
Won this event.
And he can still manage a smile, but inside, I know, being the competitive person he is, it does hurt. 48.1. He has skated better, and maybe we'll see it tomorrow night in the artistic program.
Now we can have some fun next.
And we'll look forward to having some fun tomorrow night. Now, Brian Boitano, the favorite, the six-time world professional champion. He told me at 32, his physical skills haven't diminished at all. In fact, he says all around he's a better skater than he was 10 years ago. He trusts himself more, and he knows how to compete. He does know that.
Skating to Lincoln's portrait from Appalachian Spring. This is a version of his '94 Olympic performance. And Brian opens with his signature Tano triple Lutz. And now the critical triple axel.
Wow.
He's like an immovable mountain. I don't think he's ever made a mistake in the technical portion of this competition all the years he's competed here.
And what pressure that puts on everyone else.
And him.
In fact, he admitted he was nervous having won this event 6 times.
In the first minute and a half, he successfully completed 4 triples.
Waving to his parents who are here.
Another perfect performance.
He is a precision skating machine. He is just incredible. Brian Boitano, standing ovation.
No one has this kind of technical strength. No one has this kind of mental strength. His tonneau lutz, done to perfection, it drives the other guys crazy that he just never makes a mistake. And his triple axel,
And I was looking at him.
a breeze.
I was
Look at
looking
the
this
height.
like,
He's
they're
as
not
high as
supposed to
the
be over there.
board.
So I came around again. Was that triple axel good? Lutz was really good.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Seeking the
scores.
approval of his coach, Linda Lever, as if he needed it. These scores ought to give him some
9.9.
approval. 9.9 draws whistles and boos from the crowd. Perfect 10s.
9.9. 10.
Those 10 say it all.
Take that. 49.9 for Brian Boitano. And how would you like to have to follow that? Well, Victor Petrenko must do just that. And then Kurt Browning when we come back to Landover, Maryland. Back at the U.S. fiancée, Sonia Rodriguez. But before Kurt skates, we will see Victor Petrenko trying to follow that 49.9 performance, near perfect by Brian Boitano. But Victor, an Olympic gold medalist, 1992 world champion, trains in Connecticut now with his fellow Ukrainian Oksana Bayul.
The loss of his friend Sergei Grinkov has weighed heavily on Victor, and it's shown in his performances. Opening with his triple axel.
Beautifully done. After opening with a beautiful triple axel, how can he just seemingly lose concentration there?
That's something that Victor has historically always done. He's always been a hot and cold performer. And with that triple show, he's back. plan something that the other men do not, a second triple axel. And with this wind-up, here it is. Very close. Nice save.
Fairly typical Victor Petrenko, a little uneven, but good overall.
An elegant skater and an elegant man. This performance so soon after the loss of his friend was a difficult one.
Always a favorite with the ladies.
Uh-huh.
Above all else, he is a performer. He almost embraces the crowd when he takes his bows.
Well, his favorite town in America is Las Vegas.
Speaking of embracing.
I wish I'd brought some flowers.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the scores for Victor Petrenko. 9.8. 9.8.
Well, good but not great scores for Victor Petrenko, which means that Kurt Browning is the only man left to challenge Brian Boitano in the technical program.
9.8 and 9.8.
Victor's total 49 will put him into second place behind Boitano. Now the enigmatic Kurt Browning, four-time world champion, never an Olympic champion. Brian Boitano watching backstage. Kurt Browning, brilliant when he sets his mind to it, embarrassing when he doesn't.
And I would say that he has set his mind on this competition. He is very serious about skating a clean performance. A medley from Matt's entertainment. It's the tip of his hat to all the dancing men. But especially Gene Kelly. Kurt's first triple, a relatively easy one, triple Falcao combination.
I bet Gene Kelly never tried this on ice.
Certainly not this next jump. It's the triple axel. Do or die.
Or something in between do or die, I'm not sure.
Well, he landed it, but with that extra little rotation on the ice, it's nowhere near as clean as Brian's or Victor's.
I'm exhausted just watching.
Well, almost perfect. He needed that triple axel, but boy, did he ever perform that program. The audience loved it, love him. Nobody reaches a crowd like Kurt when he's on.
And nobody plays a crowd much better than Kurt.
His parents, Dewey and Neva Browning from Caroline, Alberta.
Well, and appropriate enough, since Kurt put his heart into that program. Brian Boitano's lead, probably not challenged by Kurt Browning, but a good skate. It had to be flawless to catch Brian. Panel of 7 judges, 4 Canadians, 2 Americans, and 1 Russian. And they have given Kurt Browning these scores. Starting with a 10, I thought 10 was perfect.
I thought so too. Perfect is perfect, isn't it? But I think what the judges are trying to do is send a message out that there's more to technical skating than just jumps. They're looking for footwork and spin. But I disagree with the perfect mark for an imperfect skate.
Total 49.7 will not catch Brian Boitano, but it will apply some pressure as we head to tomorrow night's artistic program. After the technical program, these are the standings. Boitano first, Browning second, then Petrenko and Wiley. Coming up, the greatest ice dancers ever, Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean. Absent from this competition for 5 years, now they return in search of their 4th title. Torvill and Dean, Klimova and Ponomarenko will skate third. There will be a rhythm dance tonight, counting 50% of the score, then a free dance tomorrow night. And now Usova and Julin, the Russian pair, now training in Lake Placid, although their relationship anything but placid. Formerly married, now divorced.
They are skating what is the original tango, which was a dance between men.
Alexander won this competition last year and hoping to repeat their 1994 Olympic feat. They finished second in front of Torvill and Dean, who were third. skated together for 15 years through all of their marital problems, and you really see their extensive ballet training come out in their programs.
Their style is more abstract, more modern than the traditional Russian style. And they've acquired a great following in America. Always in the shadow of Klimova and Ponomarenko, it's been extremely frustrating for them over the years.
Trying to repeat as world professional champions. As Torvill and Dean take the ice behind them. Talk about pressure, knowing they're waiting in the wings. Klimova and Ponomarenko will skate third in the ice dancing competition, the rhythm dance. In fact, there they are backstage, roped and ready.
Alexander Zhulin, 9.9. 9.7. 9.8.
Well, these scores are sort of all over the place.
As they usually are at the dance event.
9.7.
Difficult to judge. 7 different opinions. 18,000 if you ask the audience.
And the total score of 49 for Usova and Zhulin. Now Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean.
Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean.
And listen to the reception they get as befits the greatest ice dancers of all time. Chris married the former world champion Jill Trenery, who tells me they plan to start a family soon. Jane 38, Chris 37. Guess what they're skating to? Still crazy after all these years.
They've been together 20 years.
And after all these years, still pushing the envelope, still innovative, and the crowd obviously very much appreciates their performance.
This number makes me smile. It seems they've mellowed out a bit, and although they take their work very seriously still, it seems that they look at each other differently. They savor their experiences and make us all think of how crazy we are to be in this business all these years.
And isn't it great to see them back in competition again, not just skating in ice shows? In the '94 Olympics, they won the bronze medal. I don't think they were happy with that performance, but this professional skating competition more suited to their style.
Well, no matter how much you perform as a professional, you never have the edge like you do when you're competing. In this arena, you push yourself to explore new positions. And I think what happened in '94 is they were trying to play by the book, by the International Skating Union book, which they never did before, and it didn't work for them that time. And now they're back to being true to themselves. I love the whimsy.
Now the scores for Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean. 10.
Well, the judges loved it too.
9.9.
Can you imagine always skating under the pressure of being the best of all time? You almost have to have 10s to satisfy everyone. And a 9.8 draws a real reaction from the crowd.
9.9.
49.8 puts them in first place. And the final ice dancers, Klimova and Ponomarenko.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marina Klimova and Sergei Ponomarenko.
And what you won't see in an international skating union competition are props. And certainly not ropes. Another Piazzolla tango.
Well, one thing, you have to be extremely trusting of your partner. I mean, think if you were having an off night and she had a rope around your neck.
Well, partner.
Is that a rope I see you have in your purse?
And Sergei Ponomarenko.
A wonderful and completely different interpretation to a Piazzolla tango.
Different it was, and who would appreciate innovation better than that pair? Torvill and Dean watching backstage. Perhaps they like some of those elements. They're hoping to stay in the lead.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the scores for Marina Klimova and Sergei Ponomarenko. 9.9.
Good start.
9.8. 9.8. 10.
Well, there's a perfect 10, but not as many as Torvill and Dean, of course.
9.8 and 9.7.
49.2 the total, and that puts them in second place behind Torvill and Dean. Coming up, Kristi Yamaguchi and the ladies' competition technical program. She's the best in the world, but the last time Kristi Yamaguchi was the defending champion at this event, she lost her title. What will she do with the pressure of expectations tonight? Nancy Kerrigan last skated against Kristi Yamaguchi at the World Championships in 1992. Nancy finished second, Kristi first. In their first meeting as professionals, will Nancy prove she's still in Kristi's league? 23-year-old Yuka Sato. Last year at these championships, she finished a disappointing third. Yuka's most celebrated victory was her World Championship in Tokyo, 1994. She was the hometown hero. Her joy was matched by Surya Bonalay's bitter displeasure with second place. Tonight, Yuka seeks a different world title and a chance to prove the first was no fluke. Ladies on the ice behind us, they'll be skating their technical program momentarily. And Sandra, I'm wondering, with all that's happened to Nancy Kerrigan over the last couple of years, can she have the proper competitive focus here to beat Kristi Yamaguchi?
It's difficult to say. Her coach, Mary Scottfold, said that they did find 2 weeks to train for this event. But Nancy's priorities have changed. She's a newlywed, and what she really wants to do is be at home.
Nancy will skate first. And here are the skaters we'll be seeing tonight, starting with Nancy Kerrigan, then Yuka Sato and Kristi Yamaguchi. Seems that Nancy Kerrigan has had a lot of difficulty making the transition from amateur to professional skating. She's stayed away from most of the competitive events, it seems. In fact, at one point was quoted as saying she didn't think the pro competitions were all that competitive, as you see her coaches, the Scottfolds.
Well, I think they're as competitive as you want them to be. All you have to do is look at Brian Boitano or Kristi Yamaguchi to know that. It takes an awful lot of nerve for Nancy to step on this ice knowing that she's only trained for 2 weeks.
This could be a huge step for her. She's never beaten Kristi Yamaguchi.
Browning with a triple-triple combination. Very nice.
Off to a good start.
Her next jump is the critical one, the triple lat. A double. In this event, you can't get by with a double. Reacting to a near slip. Nancy Kerrigan, and perhaps that lack of training shows it wasn't a particularly challenging technical program. It was a respectable performance. However, with only 3 triple jumps, that's going to keep her out of contention here. You've got to do more than that.
Certainly not good enough to challenge the likes of Kristi Yamaguchi, who has taken her professional programs to new heights. Very challenging.
It's frustrating to watch Nancy because she's such a talented skater. Watch this triple-triple combination that she does with such ease. And when you remember her Olympic performance and how spectacular that was, you know what magic she does have. But unfortunately, she's lost the fire.
Nancy Kerrigan. 9.6.
Ooh. Very low scores for Nancy Kerrigan.
I told the judges expect more here.
9.6, 9.6, and 9.6.
Total 48.1. Not a good score for Nancy Kerrigan. Next, we'll see Yuka Sato. You can forget her 1994 World Championship accomplished in her home country of Japan. This is her second year now as a pro skater, and she has some new programs this year.
She had a disappointing year last year, her first year out, but it was a learning experience. This year, she's skating brilliantly. She's won every competition she's entered this year. She's got the fire. triple is the triple Lutz, the jump Nancy double. Very solid.
Yuka spends a lot of time these days traveling between Japan and the United States. Speaks English very well. In fact, she taught herself from children's books and trained in Ottawa for several years, learning English even better. Second year as a pro, Yuka looks much more polished, just floating over the ice.
She's landed all her jumps, but what I like best about Yuka's skating is her speed and her footwork. Watch her fly.
Yuka Sato, wow, maybe we found a new force in professional skating. That was brilliant.
Well, that's what I call a perfect performance. 4 gorgeous triples, beautiful spins, edges, footwork. She has it all. And this is going to be extremely difficult to beat. The joy with which she skates is so captivating, but she also landed the jumps. This is her first triple, the triple Lutz, off to a fine start, just perfect.
It was exciting.
But the footwork was exciting. She flies like no other lady.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the score.
Well, you said she was perfect. Let's see.
9.9.
Almost.
9.9. 9.8. 9.9. 10. 10.
There you go.
9.8.
Oh, well, there's room for Christy, but not much.
49.5.
49.5, putting the pressure squarely on the defending champion, Christy Yamaguchi. Her technical program when we return to Landon. Tom Hammond, Sandra Bezic, Marianne Grabavoy back again at the World Professional Championships.
Now,
And the eagerly awaited performance of the queen of ladies skating, Christy Yamaguchi. She set a new standard for professional skating, but Yuka Sato has put the pressure on her.
The new standards that even Christy has to live up to, and that kind of pressure, well, you can see it in that thigh.
Christy saying this program one of her favorites because it's one-on-one skating with classical elements, clean and pure.
Opening with her triple lutz. Very nice. The music is The Seasons by Glazunov. Her next triple, the triple flip.
Christy says she enjoys the freedom of professional skating, doing what you want to do, rather than trying to please the judges all the time.
But she never lowers her standards, even in shows. Her first two triples, but with Yuka's performance, she cannot make a mistake and needs this next one, the triple loop.
Oh, that was a single, wasn't it?
Something we never see from Christy. That's devastating.
Christy's skating now knowing that one mistake, singling that triple jump, probably makes it impossible to overcome Yuka Sato in the technical program.
I'm sure she's angry with herself. She very rarely makes a mistake.
As always, the crowd loves her, but Christy, having won this competition 2 of the past 3 years, probably is going to have to settle for second place in the technical program behind Yuka Sato.
Well, it's the pressures of a defending champion. The difference between a totally free performance like Yuka's and a tentative one like Christie's. Nice triple flip at the beginning of her program. But through the entire performance, she had to keep thinking, had to keep watching every step. There's the single loop instead of the triple. It's that kind of pressure that a champion has to constantly overcome, and it's not easy.
You see her angry. I think you put it right. You see her just drop the flowers and...
She sets high standards for herself.
Did you? Yeah. Like thinking.
Well, that's what you said, Sandra. Thinking and thinking and thinking. And
Now,
Yuka Sato didn't have that sort of pressure.
Christy Yamaguchi.
Here are the scores.
9.8. 9.8. 9.9. 9.9.
A couple of 9.9s.
9.8.
But those scores not good enough. She'll be in second place behind Yuka Sato.
9.8. The total score,
Marianne?
49.1.
Thank you, Tom. Christy, an uncharacteristic mistake. You popped that triple loop. What happened?
I think coming into the jump, I was just thinking about it too much, and I knew I had enough speed. I made sure of that, but at the last minute, my mind just kind of left it.
We always expect you to be flawless. Are you a little surprised that you did that?
I'm definitely surprised. I don't like doing that. I'd rather fall, I think, than pop a jump, but, you know, that's how it goes.
What do you have to do in the artistic to win it again this year?
Well, my artistic number this year is quite different than any other year, so I just really want to go out, have fun, and try to get the crowd going.
We look forward to it. Thank you, Christy.
Well, her technical program wasn't much fun. And Yuka Sato skating without pressure. Brilliant in the technical program. Could an upset be brewing? Will she dethrone Christy Yamaguchi? Artistic program coming up to decide the title tomorrow night. Since 1988, Brian Boitano has owned this event. Usually he coasts to victory. But this year, only 0.2 of a point are all that separate him from Kurt Browning and his record 7th victory. But don't count out a rejuvenated Kurt Browning. Will he finally realize his potential and dethrone the champ? Christy Yamaguchi, usually flawless. Now, tomorrow night, she has a fight to get her title back. And Yuka Sato, simply splendid. Can she hold on under pressure? Last year, some wondered if she even deserved to be invited to the World Professional Championships. But last night, Yuka took the lead after the technical program. This is the Yuka that won her first and only World Championship as a hero in her native Japan. Tonight, a more confident and mature Yuka Sato tries to take the biggest step of her young professional career. She has set the standard that other skaters seldom reach. Christy Yamaguchi, quite simply, the best female skater in the world. But last night, rare Yamaguchi mistakes may wind up costing her this world title. Nancy Kerrigan, training for only a couple of weeks, critical of pro events, but out to prove she belongs in this company. The self-imposed pressure is intense. And what of Brian Boitano and his reign in Landover? He's never lost here. No man has won 7 titles. Will history be made tonight? Kurt Browning would like to make this his night. After a brilliant technical performance, will this be the night when Kurt Browning changes from a skater with often unfulfilled promise to a champion skater of the moment? Tom Hammond, Sandra Bezic, Marianne Grabavoy in Landover, Maryland, where tonight we'll crown 4 professional world champions with the completion of the artistic programs. We'll begin with the pairs competition, and the skaters will skate in reverse order of their placing in the technical program. So here are Barbara Underhill and Paul Martini from Canada in 3rd place after the technical program.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbara Underhill and Paul Martini.
Barbie and Paul are used to winning this event, so therefore finding themselves in 3rd place and having to skate first is extremely difficult. It's taken the wind out of their sails, so they have to pull it together and have some fun here.
7 times they've won this event.
One night with you is what I'm afraid to do. The things that we do would make a dream come true. Just call my name.
This is so uncharacteristic for Paul. There's no one more preppy, more conservative than Paul Martini.
Elvis songs do that to me.
I think it's the leather pants.
My heart was captured, my soul surrendered.
Big smiles for Barbara Underhill and Paul Martini. Having some fun with their artistic program and erasing some of the bitterness of their lackluster technical program.
Well, when you've been together for 19 years, you feel as though you've skated to every kind of music and you've done everything you can possibly do, so it was time to try some comedy. What Barbie and Paul have, I think, beyond any other couple, is their contact with each other, the magnetism that they share,
Yeah, that one was fun.
and the romance. Even though they're each married to someone else, and they each have 2 children.
Well, Barbara said that was fun, and I think the audience sharing in the fun. Let's check the scores. The artistic program counts for half the total. High and low scores are thrown out. 10 is perfect.
Well, they're certainly at a disadvantage having to skate first.
7 times they've won the World Professional Championships. This will be the first time they've tasted defeat here. Total 49.4. Now Elena Bessky and Dennis Petrov in second place.
And the opposite end of the spectrum, skating to Spartacus.
Three times Elena and Dennis have finished second in this competition, including last year when they finished behind the pairs team that many consider the greatest of all time, Gordieva and Grinkov. The tragic death of Sergei Grinkov recognized at this competition by leaving a spot vacant that would have been theirs. Unlike many pair skaters, they didn't skate together until relatively late in their careers. Elena was 21 years old before she started skating with Dennis. They had been skating at the same rink in St. Petersburg, Russia, before they were finally paired. Coached by the great Tamara Moskvina. Once married, now divorced, but they continue to skate together. Technical program, we saw their performance flawed a bit by Elena's nerves, a continuing problem with her in big competitions.
But not evidence in this performance at all.
Bessky and Petrov with a clean artistic performance. Was it enough to finally get that gold medal instead of settling for the silver?
It was a strong artistic performance with good technical content with this throw triple Salchow. Although it was two-footed, the judges are looking for strong skating. But the million-dollar question is, how do you compare Khachaturian with Elvis Presley? That's what the judges have to do.
First judge voted for the classical.
9.7.
First judge is a Russian, we should add. And not an Elvis fan.
9.8. 9.9. 9.8.
And the final ballots are in, and Elvis is still the king.
Elvis lives.